The absolute worst thing that can happen to, like, a local plumbing business or really any home services company is suddenly getting 500 new customers in a single afternoon.
Oh, yeah, it is completely overwhelming.
Right, because, I mean, to you and me, a sudden winter freeze or
Huh.
a massive summer heat wave is mostly just an inconvenience.
Yeah, you just stay inside.
Exactly. We walk over to the wall, we adjust the thermostat, and we just move on with our day.
Right.
But if you were running an HVAC company or, a roofing business, that exact same weather shift is basically a starting gun for operational collapse.
Yeah.
It's just absolute chaos.
It's the seasonal surge. And it is universally recognized as the defining nightmare of the industry.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, precisely because it happens practically overnight. You can go to sleep on a Tuesday with perfectly manageable schedule.
And then wake up to a total disaster.
Exactly. You wake up on Wednesday to a community-wide crisis where hundreds of people suddenly need your services at the exact same time.
Okay, let's unpack this because we are looking at some really fascinating source material today that suggests this chaotic reality is, well, it's undergoing a massive structural shift.
It really is.
Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are pulling from an article titled Scaling the Service Surge, AI Automation for Home Services.
Written by Ailey Ashery.
Right, the CEO of Chatitude. And our mission today is to explore how modern businesses are finally managing to absorb these massive volume spikes.
And doing it without completely breaking their team.
Exactly. We're going to look at how they're doing it without, frantically hiring temporary staff, without sacrificing the quality of their response, and what this structural shift means for the future of business growth.
And that structural shift is really the critical piece for you to understand here. Because for decades, the entire home services industry has operated on a model where human capacity was the ultimate bottleneck.
Which makes sense, right? There are only so many hours in a day.
Right. When demand spikes, the infrastructure just shatters.
Well, let's talk about the sheer scale of that bottleneck, because the numbers in the text are just staggering.
They really are.
The article notes that AI customer service solutions are allowing companies to absorb seasonal volume spikes of like 200 to 300%.
Which is massive.
I mean, think about what a 300% spike actually looks like in a physical office. You have a dispatch team of maybe 3 people.
Yeah, sitting at their desks.
Right. And suddenly, the phone lines are completely lit up. It's endless hold music. Customers are panicked because their pipes have burst.
And they're probably yelling at whoever picks up.
Exactly. The dispatchers are completely burned out by noon, and the business owners just like pulling their hair out.
Yeah.
Because every time a customer hangs up out of frustration, that is hundreds or thousands of dollars in revenue just vanishing.
And we have to look closely at why a human-only team fails so predictably under those conditions.
It's not their fault, right?
It is absolutely not a lack of effort or dedication from the staff. It comes down to unavoidable biological and psychological limits, like cognitive overload.
Exactly. When a human team faces a 300% surge, they inevitably run into extreme cognitive fatigue.
I mean, answering ringing phones back-to-back has to be exhausting.
Right, while simultaneously trying to calm down stressed customers and navigate clunky scheduling software. It just creates a massive cognitive load.
So mistakes happen.
Under that pressure, inconsistency inevitably creeps in. Mistakes get made. A human can only physically speak to one person at a time, so a queue naturally forms.
And nobody wants to wait in a queue.
Especially in an emergency. People do not wait in queues when their basement is flooding.
So the traditional response is just panic hiring, right? Just like bringing in temporary staff who barely know the software just to have a warm body answering the phone.
Which usually just creates even more mistakes.
Right. But the text explains that instead of relying on that fragile human capacity, these new systems deploy AI agents that manage thousands of simultaneous conversations across phone, chat, and text.
Now, I have to stop here and challenge this on behalf of anyone who has ever yelled representative into their smartphone.
Fair enough.
I mean, we've all been there. It feels like you're trying to catch a waterfall with a single bucket, and sure, AI turns that bucket into a vast lake. But if the system is handling thousands of conversations at once, isn't it just a wall of frustrating, robotic dead ends for the customer?
It sounds like it would be.
Yeah. Are we just talking about a slightly faster version of those terrible automated phone trees that trap you in an endless loop?
That is the exact assumption most people make, and it is the exact assumption the source material completely refutes.
Okay, how so?
What's fascinating here is that we are not talking about a simple static chatbot designed to deflect customers away.
Because those old phone trees were basically designed to be roadblocks, right?
Exactly. They were meant to frustrate you into hanging up or force you into a really narrow set of pre-recorded options.
Press 1 for sales, press 2 to be ignored.
Right. But the technology described here functions entirely differently. It acts as an active, highly capable back office worker.
Okay, an active worker.
Yeah, the real power isn't just that it can handle the volume of communication, it is the real-time, concrete action it can take during those communications.
The article actually makes a very clear distinction about those capabilities. It says, these AI systems instantly answer inquiries, yes, but they also schedule jobs, and they actually qualify the leads.
Which is huge.
And the mechanism for this is crucial, right? Because it integrates directly with the company's existing CRM, their customer relationship management software, and their dispatch software using APIs.
The API integration is the entire ballgame here.
Break that down for us.
To understand how this works, think of an API as like a digital restaurant waiter.
Okay.
The AI is interacting with the customer taking their order, so to speak. But the AI itself doesn't hold the calendar.
Right, the calendar is the kitchen.
Exactly. Without an API, you would need a human to walk the order from the customer back to the kitchen.
Oh, I see.
The API acts as that digital waiter, taking the exact data from the AI's conversation and dropping it directly into the dispatch software in a language the software understands.
Wait, hold on. If it's integrating directly into the dispatch calendar like that, what stops the AI from, like, accidentally double booking 2 different plumbers for the exact same address?
It's a common fear.
Does it actually see the screen the way a human dispatcher does?
It doesn't need to see the screen, and that's exactly why it doesn't make those mistakes.
How does it know then?
It communicates directly with the database's rules engine. If your scheduling software is programmed to know that plumber A is unavailable from 2 to 4 p.m., the API relays that constraint to the AI in milliseconds.
Wow.
Yeah. The AI simply cannot book that slot. It operates flawlessly within the parameters set by the existing software.
So it's basically guardrailed by the system already in place.
Exactly. It can book an appointment, update a support ticket, trigger specific dispatch workflows to send a technician to a neighborhood, and even collect payments. And it does all of this completely autonomously.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The business owner doesn't have to rip out what's currently working to make this happen.
Which is always the biggest hesitation.
Right. Because when you hear about a technology that can do all of that, the immediate fear is that you have to pause your entire business for 6 months, hire a team of developers, and install some massive, super expensive new system.
Nobody has time for that.
Nobody. But Ashery notes that the setup is handled via guided onboarding. You do not need a developer on staff.
That's right.
The human team keeps using the exact same familiar tools they have always used.
And that is a massive psychological relief for a business.
I can imagine.
From the perspective of the human dispatcher sitting at their desk, nothing about their software changes. They are still looking at the same calendar interface, the same dispatch screen.
But things are just magically happening.
Pretty much. Magically, the calendar is being optimally booked, the tickets are being updated with precise customer notes, and payments are being processed.
That's wild.
The AI acts as an invisible, highly competent layer running in the background, doing the administrative heavy lifting so the humans don't have to.
Which brings up an unavoidable question.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. If this invisible layer is acting like a super employee, doing the booking, the dispatching, the invoicing, and instantly answering thousands of calls, what happens to the actual human workers?
Right, the displacement question.
Does the dispatcher just pack up their desk and go home?
Yeah.
Are we just looking at a mechanism for mass layoffs in the service industry?
That is always the natural fear when we discuss automation, but the source material paints a very different, highly collaborative picture.
Okay, collaborate how?
The AI is designed to automate the predictable, repetitive tasks. It is incredibly good at answering frequently asked questions. What are your hours? Do you service the zip code? What is your base diagnostic fee?
The stuff that gets asked 100 times a day.
Exactly. It is perfect for capturing basic customer details. But it is not a human being. It is not possessed judgment. And because of that, it relies heavily on a mechanism called smart escalation.
Smart escalation, meaning it knows when it's out of its depth.
Yes.
But how does it actually know that? I mean, it's software. It doesn't have a gut feeling.
It relies on confidence scoring and sentiment analysis.
Wait, confidence scoring?
Yeah. As the AI interacts with the customer, it is constantly calculating its own confidence in resolving the issue based on its training data.
Well, that makes sense.
If a customer asks to book a routine furnace tune-up, the AI's confidence score is 99%. It handles it.
Easy.
But if a customer calls and says, "My basement is flooding, the shutoff valve is completely rusted shut, and I smell gas," the AI recognizes complex variables and high urgency.
So its confidence score drops.
Exactly. Its confidence score drops. Simultaneously, sentiment analysis detects panic or frustration in the customer's text or voice.
Wow, so it's reading the emotional tone, too.
Right. The moment those thresholds are crossed, the system instantly escalates the interaction, routing that highly urgent edge case directly to a human team member.
And it hands over all the context, right? So the human doesn't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. The human dispatcher receives the call or chat, but they also instantly receive the full transcript of what the AI has already gathered.
That's so efficient.
The human steps in seamlessly. And this mechanism creates a fascinating paradox that the text explicitly highlights. Automation actually preserves and amplifies human empathy.
I want to really dig into that concept, amplifying empathy through automation.
It's powerful.
It is. I mean, think about your own daily work for a second, right? Think about the tasks you do every single day.
Oh boy.
How much of your time, your energy, your mental bandwidth is just completely eaten up by mindless, repetitive tasks. Data entry, copying and pasting information, answering the exact same email 5 times a day.
It drains you.
It really does. It leaves you feeling robotic.
It causes immense, measurable cognitive fatigue. Let's look at the before and after of a human dispatcher.
Okay, paint the picture.
Without this technology, imagine a dispatcher at 4 p.m. during a winter freeze. They have spent the last 8 hours answering 300 identical calls about pricing and availability.
Just totally burnt out.
They have been yelled at by customers stuck on hold. By the time a genuinely distressed elderly customer calls with a complex emergency, that dispatcher is completely drained.
They just don't have anything left to give.
Exactly. They do not have the emotional reserves left to offer a patient, empathetic, reassuring response. They are just trying to survive the rest of the shift.
But with the AI in place, the reality of that dispatcher's day is completely inverted.
Precisely. Because the AI acts as a shield, absorbing the flood of 300 repetitive questions, the dispatcher's day looks entirely different.
So they aren't taking 300 calls anymore.
Right. They might only handle 15 or 20 interactions all day, but those interactions are the complex emergencies.
The ones that really need a human touch.
Yes. The AI gives them their breathing room back. The human team finally has the energy and the time to apply genuine judgment, complex problem solving, and true emotional empathy exactly where it is most desperately needed.
So what does this all mean? It means businesses no longer have to make an impossible choice between service quality and cost control.
Which is a huge paradigm shift.
It really is. Historically, that was the ultimate trade-off in business operations. If you wanted high quality during a surge, you had to overstaff, paying a fortune in overtime and temporary wages just to ensure the phones were answered.
Yep, throwing money at the problem.
And if you wanted to control your costs, you kept your staff lean, you let the phone ring, and your customer service quality completely tanked.
It was a lose-lose situation.
Right. But now, the AI handles the routine volume at scale, which keeps costs flat, while the humans are preserved to handle the complex cases with incredibly high quality.
And when you improve both the customer experience and the employee experience simultaneously, it fundamentally alters the underlying economics of the business itself.
Let's transition into those economics, because this is where the theory actually hits the bank account.
The fun part.
Exactly. If this AI acts as an invisible superpower, booking all these jobs, and perfectly managing the calendar, surely the software subscription costs as much as the humans it's helping, right?
You would think so.
How does a local plumber or a mid-sized roofing company actually justify this, or even measure if it's working?
They justify it because the cost structure of software is entirely different from the cost structure of human labor.
Right.
Software as a service, or SaaS, operates on a highly scalable pricing model. You aren't paying hourly wages, payroll taxes, or overtime.
No calling in sick either.
Exactly. But to truly understand the economic impact, we have to look at the specific metrics the source text outline.
The vital signs.
Yes. Ashery writes that as a company's monthly service call volume grows, say jumping from 200 calls to 500 or more, you have to track very specific vital signs.
Right. The article lists them out. First response time, call answer rate, booking conversion rate,
Average handle time.
job scheduling accuracy, customer satisfaction, or CSIA, and the missed opportunity rate, which is all those unanswered calls and unbooked leads.
These metrics expose exactly why human scalability is so expensive. Let's take first response time.
Okay.
When volume spikes from 200 to 500 calls, a human team's first response time inevitably plummets.
Because they're just physically overwhelmed.
Right. Customers are put on hold for 10-15 minutes. When that happens, your missed opportunity rate skyrockets because people simply hang up and call your competitor.
And in home services, a missed call isn't just a missed conversation.
No, it's real money.
It's a missed $500 repair. It's
Yeah.
a missed $10,000 roof replacement. The missed opportunity rate is a silent killer for these businesses.
Exactly. But because the AI responds instantly, 24/7, the first response time remains 0, whether it's the first call of the morning or the 1,000th call at 2 a.m.
That's incredible.
The call answer rate remains at 100%. The missed opportunity rate drops to 0.
Okay, but what about the booking conversion rate? Does AI actually convince people to book better than humans do?
In high-pressure situations, yes.
Really?
Yeah, because humans, when they are stressed and rushing to get off the phone to answer the next ringing line, often forget to follow the optimized script.
Oh, sure. They cut corners
They forget to ask the closing question. They forget to offer the earliest available time slot.
because they just want to move on to the next emergency.
Exactly. But the AI never feels pressure. It follows the optimized scripts perfectly every single time.
No matter how busy it is.
Right. It maximizes both conversion rates and scheduling accuracy. It maintains and often improves every single one of those vital metrics, even as the volume doubles or triples.
It's just incredible when you lay it out like that. And the article distills this entire economic shift down to one incredibly powerful sentence. It says, revenue scales with demand, but overhead does not.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that one sentence represents a total transformation of the administrative function and home services.
It changes everything.
It does. Historically, business growth and payroll were completely locked together. If you wanted to handle 30% more service calls, you were forced to hire 30% more staff.
Every single time.
Every single uptick in demand triggered a new round of hiring, a new round of training, and a massive expansion of overhead. The profit margin never really grew. The business just got heavier.
Which is incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Think about the sheer relief this must bring to a business owner.
Huge relief.
Knowing that a sudden spike in demand, a massive winter storm rolling into town, equals pure profit rather than an operational panic attack.
You can actually sleep at night.
Right. You aren't frantically calling temp agencies. You aren't begging your exhausted staff to work 80-hour weeks. By mathematically decoupling your revenue growth from your labor costs, that gap between your growing revenue and your steady, flat overhead translates directly into expanding profit margins.
It's just smart business.
It's a complete game changer for the bottom line. Growth actually compounds your profitability now.
It creates a fundamentally resilient operation. The business is no longer fragile to spikes in demand. It actively thrives on them.
Because it can handle the load.
Exactly. It is built to absorb chaos and turn it into scheduled, profitable work without breaking the human beings operating the system.
Which brings us to the core takeaway for you today. If we synthesize everything we've unpacked from Ashley's article, the real lesson is that AI scalability in the service industry isn't about replacing human workers.
Not at all.
It's entirely about absorbing the routine volume. It takes the robotic, repetitive, soul-crushing work away from humans so that your human team can finally focus on the nuanced, complex, high-value work that actually requires a heartbeat.
This raises an important question, though, about what the future of that human work actually looks like.
Oh, for sure.
As these systems become universally adopted, the baseline of what we consider good service is going to radically change.
Exactly. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building on what we've explored today.
It's a really interesting point to consider.
If AI is going to perfectly handle all the administrative logistics, the scheduling, the standard inquiries, the payment processing, the instant response times, will the future definition of customer service expertise shift entirely away from efficiency?
Right, because the Colleen is already perfectly efficient.
Exactly. For decades, a good customer service rep was someone who was incredibly fast and incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
But if the AI is flawlessly fast and accurate, in a few years, could human empathy, emotional intelligence, and crisis management become the only measurable professional skills that actually matter in the service industry.
It makes you wonder.
If the software handles the speed, the human's only job is the connection.
It's a profound shift in professional value. The worth of a human worker transitions completely from their speed and output to their humanity and judgment.
It really makes you look at that next weather shift a little differently.
Yeah.
Maybe the next time the thermostat drops, instead of bracing for operational chaos and endless hold times, we'll just be bracing for a very empathetic, deeply human conversation when things go wrong.
We can only hope.
Thank you so much for joining us and exploring this deep dive today. Until next time.